I'm Sean Doherty. I'm professor and chair in Geography and Environmental Studies. I've been at Laurier since 2000. So team-based learning, which is an example of a flipped classroom, involves several key steps. First of all, you need to sell this to students. You need to convince them that this is different, that it's worth doing, and you have to keep reminding them what they're doing because they're going to be doing different things than a standard lecture. So you got to remind them what they're doing and keep reminding them why it's so important and what they're getting out of it. Now, the approach I adopted involves what's called a readiness assurance process, which is kind of a multi-step way to get students to do preparation before class, okay? To do readings, to watch videos, to read government reports on a topic, okay? And I might have 4 or 5 of these modules for the whole course. So each one involves a set of reading and videos, and then they come to class having read some of the basic material. And what I'll do first in the classroom is test them on that material. So they'll do an individual test, and I use my learning space for this, on a laptop live in class, for the main reason that it's easy to administer, and I can immediately see the results of how they did on each question. That both encourages the students to prepare for class and allows me to see what areas in the readings were they struggling with. So you need to have really good quiz, 10, 15 questions that test their comprehension, not just memorization. So there may be a couple of key areas they struggled on. I can identify that right away in class. So they finish the individual test. I look at the results. While I'm looking at the results, they're going to do the same test again, but as their group. So they're formed into a strategic group for the whole term. They do the same test again, same questions, but together, and they use what's called a scratch-off card or an if-at card. So it's a novel method to scratch the response where they get to actually see if they got it right or not right away. Okay, and they get a second try with these scratch-off cards. They're really novel. But the intent is they engage with the material in their group and they're debating the answers. They're learning even more. While they're doing that, I'm preparing a very short lecture, only on the material I identified that they struggled with. So I may then follow up after these quizzes with a very short lecture, 5, 10, 15 minutes only, and only addressing the things they struggled with. After all that, okay, then I give them an exercise right in class. This isn't something they take home. And this is a hands-on exercise, very strategically designed to solve a complex problem that has a simple answer. Okay? It's analogous to judge and jury, okay? Where the jury has to decide guilty, not guilty, but it's a very complex decision. They have to go in the tank. They got to debate. There's so many factors. I'll give you one example, okay? I give them an exercise in urban geography where they have to decide, does the Northdale neighborhood, which is just beside us here in this building, do they meet the intensification targets of the Places to Grow Act in Ontario? It's a very complex problem because intensification, urban intensification, has multiple facets. It has to do with the density of buildings, the density of people, the density of jobs, the transit, etc. It's very complex. It requires multiple people to solve quickly, gather data, solve a problem, and then decide for themselves, does it meet the intensification targets? Yes or no? After that exercise in class, sometimes that takes 1 or 2 classes, they will all come to class, hold up a sheet of paper saying yes or no, or I chose this, or the answer is simple enough to hold up on a piece of paper each group. Everybody's looking around at each other and what the answer is, right? And there may be different answers. They write a short justification after, okay? But there's a lot of competition in this method and peer pressure to learn, which you use in a constructive way. So nobody wants to show up and not contribute to their group. Nobody wants to show up and not do poorly on their quiz. That motivates them to prepare to come to class. They're prepared. You engage them right in class with a hands-on exercise that involves getting their hands dirty with the material and solving a real problem. Everybody in my class will never forget what intensification means and how you do it, right? And you do that over the course of a couple lectures, and you move on to another one. And you might get 4 or 5 of these in the term. And there's a few more picky components about what they might hand in after, but I never require huge hand-ins. There's no big group exercises after class. Sometimes they'll go out into the environment and collect data. Sometimes they'll do it with their laptops right then and there. Sometimes I give them material. So that's the experience of team-based learning.